Hello, everyone. My name is Naiva Flory, and it is my honor to be here presenting as a part of the Million Mom Movement Council on the topic of from party plates to power shakes, nourishing through weddings, barbecues, and more. I've been a part of the Purium community for almost 11 years now, and I've also had the opportunity to present on the Million Mom Movement Council for almost 6 years. So it's a great honor to be here with you all today. And each and every one of you here is a part of this movement, and we appreciate you taking the time out of your day to be here and to spread this message forward because so many people need what we have. And so we're really excited to invite you to a refreshing and empowering presentation where we'll explore the art of nourishing the family through the summer season with intention, simplicity, and joy. And we would love to just share how to uncover the vital role of whole food nutrition in fueling active bodies and calming busy minds and supporting the entire family's well-being during the sunniest time of the year. And also helping to boost our mood with healthy snacks and hydration and hormone-friendly tips for the whole family and just to help us stay balanced throughout the whole summer. And so we really appreciate each and every one of you being here. If one of you would like to read the pledge for us, I would love to invite you to raise your hand virtually here, and I'll go ahead and pull up the pledge for you, and you can read that for us so we can set the tone for this call here today and what our intention is as the Million Mom Movement and the message that we're bringing forward. So I see Anna, you raised your hand. I'm going to go ahead and ask you to unmute. I'm going to open up my share screen. Give me 1 second, and then you can take it away. So thank you so much for volunteering and being a part of our Million Mom Movement.
You're welcome. Okay, Million Mom Movement Pledge. I pledge to defend the health of myself and my family. I pledge to choose organic foods that are minimally processed and free of man-made ingredients. I pledge to read labels and educate myself on all aspects of clean living. I understand that my actions today will positively impact the health and environment of future generations. I am committed to sharing this movement of many. I am the Million Mom Movement. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Anna. And if you'd like to elaborate a little bit on what this movement means to you. I'll go ahead and unmute you again.
Okay, sure. I think for me it's like better future. One of my kid is in the spectrum, and I was like, why are there so many more kids in autism now? And they also think he has ADHD, and I believe that a lot of it has to do with what they're eating. So and also just the environment. It's like just so contaminated. So I'm glad that I have found the Million Mom Movement. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. And it's such a blessing that on the third week of every month, we do cover the subject of autism and nutrition and how we can support our loved ones and our families, their family members that are neurodivergent. So thank you so much for being a part of the movement and coming and being here with us today. And as the Million Mom Movement, how we came up with this concept is that we are 1,000 people from 100 different communities committing to spread health, well-being, and an economic opportunity around organic superfood nutrition with at least 10 families in our community. And that will create a movement of 1 million strong. And so we're looking for people just like you that are here to spread this movement forward and to share this with your community. And you may be somebody that somebody invited here, and you are part of their community that they want to expand this knowledge of wealth with. So thank you so much for being here. And so we'll just go ahead and dive right in. So, we are here today to share more about how we can really nourish through the season of summer. You know, we have so many different activities happening, whether it's sports, whether it's weddings, barbecues, birthday parties, get-togethers. 4th of July is coming up next week. And so we have so many gatherings coming up in the near future. And we want to empower you to have the tools on hand to support yourself and your family members and your whole community to thrive through this season. So as we step into the summer, that's going to be filled with sun, with play, with travel, and we really want to share some practical ways to nourish ourselves and to hydrate ourselves. And so, summertime is a time of high energy and high activity. There's very little downtime. Often we're juggling jobs and sports and, whatever the things are, family activities, events on the weekends. And so life is really busy. It's really important that we take care of ourselves, that we stay hydrated, that we fuel ourselves properly. And we have some really great ways to help support you through that time. So, when thinking about going to an event like a barbecue, with 4th of July coming up next week, I really wanted to cover this topic of what are some of the healthy hacks that we can implement that can really help support us through this time and also help support our community. And so, oftentimes at barbecues or potlucks or birthday parties, what I like to do is I like to offer to bring the drinks. Oftentimes, a lot of the drinks out there are full of artificial colors, artificial flavors. We know that they're overloaded with sugars and high fructose corn syrup and things like that. And these are all things that actually bring our metabolism down, bring our energy down, and don't necessarily support our highest good. And so, what I love to do is offer to bring the drinks. And so, my favorites I like to bring are things like Cocoa Hydrate. It's really easy, it's hydrating, it tastes delicious, and it's like a healthy version of maybe a Gatorade or some type of really tasty, yummy hydration drink that might be out there, but we're not filling ourselves with sugar or colors, preservatives, all the like that are in most of the drinks out there. My other favorite is Can't Beat This, which is our energy drink. It can really be a replacement for some of the more typical energy drinks that are out there that also have all kinds of crazy ingredients, as well as synthetic caffeine sources that our body can absorb. And sometimes it can cause more harm than good, affecting our adrenals, right? Because when we're putting a lot of caffeine or energy enhancers into our body that our body can't assimilate, it actually taxes our body and can bring our energy down, causing us to crash at the end of the day, as some of us might know from drinking coffee and then having to continue to drink the coffee throughout the day to keep your energy up. And if you don't, you feel that crash in energy. So this is something that's really great. It's super easy. You just mix it with water, add some ice to it, have it in a pitcher, and then have some biodegradable cups on hand that people can use to fill or refill. And it just really makes the event that much better, right? You can feel really good about the drinks that your family members or friends are consuming. And you can also use these to make fun mocktails. So if you're looking for ways to incorporate it into some of the other fun drinks that you can make, you can add whatever you want to the superfoods to make them into the type of drink that you want. The other thing that I love about the superfoods that are super simple is that you can mix and match. You can put the cocoa hydrate with the Can't Beat This and make a really great energy hydrating drink. And it tastes delicious. It looks beautiful in a cup. If you have them in two different pitchers, you can actually put ice and some Can't Beat This and cocoa hydrate on top, and it gives it that, cocktail look where there's the mix of colors that are naturally occurring from plants. There's no artificial colors in anything. Another really great one for these types of events is Aloe Digest, because a lot of times at a barbecue or birthday party or the like, we are mixing foods, right? And maybe not having the best food combinations. And, it's hard to stay on point with your food combinations when there's so many options and everything's delicious and you just don't want to miss out on all the delicious flavors. And so Aloe Digest can be a great one to offer because not only is it a pleasant drink, but it also can help with, reduce bloating, reduce acid reflux, and help with the digestion process overall, which is really great. And I want to go ahead and pass it over to Dominique for any other tips and tricks that you might have.
Yeah, hi Neva, hi everyone. I loved all your suggestions. Those A lot of those are the same for me. So I live in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and so a big component of my honestly yearly just healthy hack is coconut water. But I love mixing it with all of our superfoods, especially PowerShake, especially Apothecary. So when you're talking about staying hydrated, those are really my go-tos, and especially preparing before we go to events. I actually was raised in Louisville, Kentucky, so I grew up in the Midwest South area, and a lot of I grew up eating a lot of the grilled meats and barbecues and all those things. And when it's really hot outside, especially in the Midwest and the South, it's very humid, and so when you're eating a lot of those foods that weigh you down, you feel really tired or you don't really have a lot of energy throughout the day. And as I've been a part of this community, I've found our superfoods to be that healthy hack that gives you the energy throughout the day that you need, gives you the hydration so you can go to barbecues and events in the summer and still feel your best. I actually just got back home from Kentucky, and one of the things that I made sure that I stayed consistent with for sure was biomedics. So making sure that my gut is able to process and break down a lot of the foods that may not be the healthiest if we are out and about at functions. Also, control meal capsules is something that I like to also have on hand, and I also share it with my parents just to make sure that they are able to have control over the amount of maybe carbohydrates or foods that they're eating, and they're not overeating. And then when it comes back to hydration, apothecary every single night and even throughout the day with coconut water, right? Like I know that we drink it at night because it does activate or the melatonin hormone in our brain when the sun goes down, but it is very hydrating throughout the day to have. And just to, like you said, add to your water bottle to drink throughout the day, and just makes you feel a lot more hydrated. And even before I found Purium, I used to get Charlie horses a lot at night. So apothecary has really helped me. I love mixing it with aloe digest, but that's something that you can have throughout the day and take with you. And obviously, if you put it in your Purium cup where it's either glass or see-through, and people are always curious as to what you're drinking, you get to honestly, share a healthy hack that tastes good, and you can really grow your impact by helping other people through that. So those are some of my favorites during the summertime as far as hydration. Oh, you're muted, Naiva. And I just wanted to add one more thing. I saw Leah put in the chat. She said, I make a superfood Kool-Aid, cocoa hydrate, apothecary, aloe digest, can't beat this, and frozen fruit. Yeah, I grew up eating or drinking, all the sugary Kool-Aid. I remember pouring just like pounds of sugar into Kool-Aid. And now we have this like mocktail that we can make that is much more healthier for our body, but also tastes even better, I would say. So thank you for adding that, Leah.
Yeah, thank you so much for those tips. And it's so important, gut health is a big part of it. And it's so important that we also are getting that biomedic in every day and being able to address our gut before we're going out and indulging in all these delicious flavors and foods. Because let's be honest, when we go to a barbecue or birthday party, we don't always know what all the ingredients are. We don't always know the standards or values that our friends and family have on organic or conventional foods. And so it is important that we take the precautions for ourselves to be able to get rid of those toxins, take the preventative measures to get rid of the toxins before we even put them into our body, so that way we can reduce the effects that they'll have on us, right? They won't make us feel bloated or not feel well while we're trying to visit with people. And of course, being conscious, of the choices that you're making when you're there, if you have certain sensitivities, being aware of those things. But the main thing during summertime is we have to hydrate like it's our job. And we have to support others in hydrating healthily, because so much of the hydration out there is full of all kinds of crazy ingredients that we don't necessarily need in our body. And there's so much healthier alternatives. And then just like you would start the day with your biomedic to help get rid of the glyphosate or other toxins that you come across, start your day with your power shake. So that way you're getting the day off to a good start. You're getting your healthy fats, your protein, your greens in. And that way, if you go to the barbecue or the birthday party or the event and all they have is, an iceberg salad lettuce, since we know that's the least nutrient dense lettuce out there, and there's so many of the pre-made salads or easily made salads that are made with, lettuces or greens that really don't have much left in them because of how they're grown. And so having these greens in first thing in the day can also really help with your hydration levels and your getting those greens in, your energy levels, and just being able to feel really good throughout the day. So that's really important. And then, if the drinks aren't the thing that you want to bring to the party, then think of another healthy dish that you can bring to share and to show others how even at a barbecue, even at a birthday party, there can be healthy options. I personally love to bring the watermelon if I'm not bringing another dish, or I love to bring like protein bites with superfoods mixed into them. That's super easy as like a sweet treat, depending on the event and, where it is I'm going and the time that I have on hand. Of course, if you don't have a whole lot of time to prepare, bringing a watermelon is great. What I always suggest when bringing the watermelon is I always try to cut it up as a snack prior to the meal because if you don't know, melons are best eaten alone and not with other foods. So I often, used to kind of veer away from bringing the watermelon to a party, knowing that it's not great to combine it with other foods. But then knowing how hydrating it is and how much the kids and everybody love watermelon, I've found ways to make, melon salads or just bring a watermelon to slice up. And I will usually slice it up while, the barbecue is happening or before the food is actually happening yet, as more of like a hydration, snack, appetizer before we dive into all the other things. Do you have anything else you want to share on that, Dominique?
No, I love that you mentioned about melons, in eating them first and making sure your body's hydrated. Honestly, I can eat a whole melon myself and I don't even want anything else for the rest of the day. It's so hydrating. But yeah, like you said, I also love um cucumber salads. Those are super hydrating and great to bring, with you if you're going to events or even to have before an event because there's so much water in the cucumbers and you can add, like olives and onions and cilantro, fresh herbs and things like that to really bring more hydration and it feels really good when you eat it. You feel a lot lighter if you are going to be out in the sun all day. But yeah, I definitely second you with the watermelon. It's a go-to summer fruit.
Yeah, watermelons and cucumbers are my favorite in the summertime. They're so cooling too. They help bring your body temperature down on hot days. So these really hydrating fruits, grapes are another great one that are really hydrating and full of water. So having grapes on hand, I always recommend organic grapes because they are one of the dirty dozen that are heavily sprayed with glyphosate. So we definitely encourage you to get organic when you're getting grapes and as much of the ingredients and foods that you're providing for your family because we just know it's better. And also, choose your indulgences intentionally. Right? The things that you're indulge in, choose them intentionally, and then also have your superfoods on hand for yourself and for your family members so that you can really enjoy the experience, right? We don't want to go and have a bunch of food with family and then feel bloated and horrible afterwards. We want to continue to feel great so that we can enjoy the entire experience and not just the beginning part and the eating part and then feel like crap afterwards. That is not a way to live our life. And of course, slow down and enjoy that moment, enjoy the family, enjoy the festivities because that's what we're there for. And then don't punish yourself, replenish. So if you do consume some things that are not usually a part of your diet, not your everyday things, right? Because when we're at an event, a festivity, sometimes we just want to indulge in the good stuff. And sometimes those good, tasty things aren't the best for our health. And so you can always replenish. Again, going back to the Biomedic and having a power shake or the Aloe Digest to really help your hydration, your digestion, excuse me, and just help your body overall to assimilate all the things that are happening in the digestive process. Anything else you want to add to that, Dominique?
Yeah, I love what you said. Bless will put in the chat, don't punish, replenish, right? Like our energy is so important. And when it comes to everything that we do, but especially the foods that we eat. And I think that we come back to Dave and Amy's mission with what we have with our superfoods, which is to make this a lifestyle. And that doesn't mean punishing yourself or trying to be perfect with everything that you eat, but allowing yourself to indulge, to enjoy, but to have these superfoods as your foundation not just before the party, but also during the party and also after. So if you do make this a lifestyle and you have your power shake, your daily core four, every single day, then yes, if you happen to have something that might not be the cleanest ingredients or might not be the healthiest, you don't punish yourself because you know you have something to come back on to maintain the lifestyle. So I just want to encourage everyone as you indulge over the summer, you have a great time, you're traveling or whatever, you can have balance, you can have your superfoods and enjoy the foods that, maybe you grew up with or that you, experience with your family members and friends, and indulge in that moment, enjoy yourself, and, just have your apothecary when you go home before bed too. So it's a balance, and that's the blessing that we have here.
Absolutely. And I love that you mentioned the apothecary because the apothecary is so important. And you also mentioned to have it throughout the day, which is something that I feel like we don't talk about enough, is you can have the apothecary any time of the day. And when you go to bed at night, you'll have the naturally occurring melatonin. It's not something that you have to do right before bed. It will occur when you close your eyes and lay your head down on your pillow. And it also reduces inflammation, which we're eating so many inflammatory foods, especially when we are at some of these events where there's so many, cakes and, candies and different things that cause inflammation in our body. And the overconsumption of sugar, especially, is so rampant during the summertime and all these events that we go to, that it's really important that we're getting good, restful sleep. And the apothecary also helps you to get rid of the free radicals in your body and other toxins and contaminants. So it's really helping your body to detox while you get that deep sleep, which is so important. And it's so simple. Who would have thought that a tart cherry could do so many things at one time? So thank you so much for bringing that to the table as well to share with our community. And I also have a friend here, Blessa, who also I wanted to bring on to share a little bit about how she navigates the summertime and if you want to share a little bit of your story, Blessa, about, how you came into these superfoods and how you already as a really healthy person, you were choosing organic, you were eating super healthy, but nonetheless, glyphosate exposure did cause a lot of health issues for you. And I think it's really important for us to know that, sometimes we don't realize why it is that we're having these, these different symptoms and share with the community how these superfoods have really supported you and your lifestyle. There you are.
Thank you. Thanks, Naiva. Thanks for the call. And Dominique, thank you both for sharing this. I got really excited when Naiva told me what today was going to be about on this call, because I love that so much about the superfoods. I love that I can take them everywhere with me, and I do take them everywhere with me. And I've been able to travel all over the world with these superfoods and be in airports and be on beaches and be in the woods and be in cities and always have my shaker and my blender and be able to nourish myself. That has been such an empowering gift in my life. Because, as you said, I became conscious about food and about eating when I was 13 years old. I became a vegetarian, and then I was a vegan, and then I was a raw foodist, and for years. And then I've also eaten on the complete other side of the spectrum. I've eaten commodity foods, and I've been on food stamps, and I've eaten out of food banks, and I've had all of that in my life. And then I've done like the all around what is healthy, keto, paleo, carnivore. I've just really tried all of the different things. And it'll be 5 years ago, summer, this June actually, I stopped being able to tolerate any kind of food. And my body couldn't eat anything, couldn't. And people would say, well, just eat vegetables. I could not eat vegetables at all. Vegetables were the worst. And so I had gone on a juice fast, and I was just juicing for weeks. And that was wonderful, except for that juice doesn't have the fiber in it. And that's what I love about these dehydrated superfoods as well, is that we get all the fiber. We're getting the whole food, which is so incredible. I'm not just getting pieces of it. And then the formulas, the way they're all blended together, activate all of these, aspects of it too. So it's so cool. The science, the synergy, how we can mix and match and make different flavors. I love having a juice bar in a bag on hand. Um, I I love the sangria. I made that for a superfood social a couple months ago, and it was so good. And just being able to have that, like, oh, I'm feeling like this, and have that in my apothecary of nutritious snacks and whole foods to have. Yeah, so when I started using these superfoods, it just was really, I started feeling better, first of all, right away. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I was dealing with gas, bloating, indigestion, just every single horrible digestive symptom I was having. I was starting to use medication, going to doctors. The only thing that I could do was juice fast, but then I was so depleted and didn't have, my whole cupboards were completely just stocked full of fruits and veggies, and my counters were full. To juice is a huge, it's really expensive and it's really time consuming. So I was spending like whole days just juicing to prepare for myself. And juice isn't also stable to go out. Like, say, let's say I'm going to the beach, it has to be on in a cooler, and it doesn't travel very well. When you're juicing, you got to kind of get it in your body or have it in the fridge. So once I had this option to be able to take with me, to have it with me in the car, I tell people, take a bag, take your shaker, take your bag, now we have the blender, but have it with you always, because I didn't realize how much food anxiety I was actually having until I had a solution. Once I had a solution, I was like, oh my gosh, I was worried about food a lot of the time. When am I going to get it? How am I going to get it? What's it going to be? Oh, I'm going to have to clean it all up. Just all of those things, or let alone when you leave your house and go out into the world. And if you're having any kind of, if you are vegetarian or vegan or, conscious at all about food, it's like we can't really go to any restaurant without having Cisco. There is going to be conventional foods. And now, almost 5 years later, I can say I can go to a barbecue and I can eat things. I'm gluten free most of the time. Sometimes wheat gets into my diet and it doesn't destroy me anymore. I had glyphosate poisoning and I know that. And Biomedic saves me. I open up a capsule, I put it in my shake. Another couple of things I wanted to mention that I feel like really keep me hydrated are the ionic elements and the aqua vibrants. I put those into every shake that I make, and I open up a Biomedic. I'm taking more than two because I am going out into the world and being exposed to these things, and it just keeps my belly feeling good, feeling strong. Like we know that in 6 weeks, Biomedic is going to reduce glyphosate by 74.5%, reduce inflammation by 75%, and increase intestinal integrity by 30%. And I feel like now, 5 years into this, I mean, it just keeps increasing. So those are my things. I love making the protein balls. I do that a lot with the apothecary and with organic. I can only eat the nuts anymore out of the refrigerator section. And even there, I have to be careful. I have to be really mindful with nuts. I became allergic to nuts in my 20s, alcohol in my 30s, and wheat in my 40s. So this autoimmune, our inability to process food because of glyphosate and all the toxins, it increases over time, right? It just continues. But I can completely say that I don't suffer from that anymore. I'm free and I have a solution that can go with me everywhere. And this is my second shake today, and it's going to get me through the evening. And yeah, thank you. Thanks for letting me share.
Thank you so much, Blessa. Yeah, your journey is such an inspiration because you've come so far and you've tried so many things and you know what works for you. And you've been able to not only, be healthy and still go through down the pathway of having an autoimmune condition and not being able to digest foods and not knowing what's wrong with you and having multiple diagnoses or not being able to diagnose what you had, just not being able to get answers, and then being able to overcome that with superfoods and nutrition and really just advocating for yourself, which sometimes that's really what it comes down to is we have to advocate for ourselves and do what's best for ourselves and our families. And I wanted to share with you all that I just came back from a road trip for the past 3 weeks. And on that road trip, I brought superfoods with me. It really was what sustained me on that road trip. You know, in the morning, I made my son and I superfood shakes. He really likes the coffee protein. I really like the chai protein. Sometimes we'd mix the two together. Um, and all I had to get at the store was, you know, a nut milk of my choice or coconut milk and a couple of bananas. And so it really saved me a ton of money on our road trip. I must say that, you know, out there when you're on the go, as you all know, it's expensive. You know, if we were buying breakfast, lunch, and dinner out on the go and eating out all the time, not only would we not feel well because a lot of that food is so over processed and we can't control the ingredients we're putting into our body, but also we would be spending so much per meal. And so it really was such a huge blessing to have these superfoods with me. We also were taking super xanthan every day because we went through Zion National Park and went and seen many of the national monuments throughout that park over a week period of time and really enjoyed lots of hot daytime hikes, which put us like in the full sun in the middle of the day at not the ideal parts of the day, but that's where we were and what we were doing at that time. And I was just so grateful that we had these superfoods on hand. I was mixing up a cocoa hydrate or can't beat this before our hikes, so we could take that with us. And so even when it comes to drinks, I was saving so much money on not having to buy conventional drinks or even juices, right? They're all so expensive nowadays, even if you're going for the healthier option. Once in a while, of course, I did buy a yerba mate or, you know, a matcha or something, you know, an iced coffee or something like that on the go because it was just part of the journey and what I wanted at the moment. But I always had the superfoods on hand, and I can say that leaning primarily on the superfoods did save me a ton of money. Like every time I did go and buy a $3 to $5 drink, you know, on the road because we wanted something other than our superfoods or water at that moment, you know, it definitely adds up really fast. And I was really grateful that I have these superfoods that cost me between $1 and $3 per serving, are, you know, super nutrient dense, full of all kinds of healthy ingredients and superfoods, and that it's supporting our digestive process, it's supporting our detox pathways, it's supporting our body to reduce inflammation, it's supporting us to have more energy levels, to stay hydrated. It was supporting us on so many levels. Um, and then I mentioned the super xanthan. I'm really grateful that I had the super xanthan because being in the hot sun for long hours a day, it really protected us. So the past 3 weeks, I've been pretty much in the hot sun for most of it. And, you know, my skin, like I'm not peeling a whole lot. I didn't get super sunburnt. I definitely got a tan, going between, you know, California through Nevada, through Utah, through Colorado, and all the way up to South Dakota. We definitely got a ton of sun. And I'm happy to say that also, when I was in South Dakota, we were at a family reunion and we had several, you know, big meals together with our family. While we were there, we celebrated my son's grandma's birthday and we had a memorial and we also had like a family reunion dinner feast. And I was able to provide some of these superfoods to my family during that time as what I was bringing to the table. And I also went around and gave everybody super xanthan because we were in the hot sun in South Dakota. It was 105 one of the days that I was there. It was scorching sun. And, you know, I wanted everybody to stay hydrated and also be protected from the sun. And there was so many people. Also, there's a really great natural way to open the doors to your community of what we have access to because so many people came back and asked me, you know, what is the drink that's in the pitcher? You know, because it looks like Gatorade, but it doesn't taste like Gatorade. Or it looks like Kool-Aid or whatever the mainstream thing is that people get. And one of the other things I implemented is last year when I had gone to the family reunion for the drink coolers, they had the the powdered drinks, like the powdered lemonade, Country Time, and powdered Gatorades that they were mixing into the drink coolers. And so that's what really inspired me to transition that this year to Cocoa Hydrate and Can't Beat This. And then for the people that didn't, that were just dead set on being scared of superfoods and that it was healthy for them, I just encouraged them and made lemonade with lemon and a natural sweetener. We used maple syrup. You can choose what, if you want to use agave or honey. But I made a big pitcher of lemonade, one of those big drink coolers, put some ice in it. Everybody enjoyed it. And you know what? It didn't have all the crazy ingredients that's in a Country Time powdered drink, which really just made me feel better about what I was offering to the community, to my family, and just helping them to see how simple it could be to make these little switches. Because oftentimes we're just so used to the modern conveniences. And sometimes we're just used to going and getting those things like the Country Time powder, or whatever those things are called, and mixing it with water and thinking that that is lemonade. When in actuality, there's nothing but a bunch of crazy ingredients in there. And so it's these little shifts that we can make in the actions that we make and what we bring to the table that can really inspire others in our family to start making those transitions for themselves as well. And so we can inspire, whatever events are coming up for us. I'm going to my sister's wedding next week. I will definitely be implementing the same thing there with bringing some healthy options. I'm helping to make some of the appetizers for her wedding. I'm really excited about that. And so with that, I would love to invite you all to some of our recipe books. But before I dive into that, I'll go ahead and pass it over to Dominique and see if there's anything else that you would like to add.
Yeah, wow. Bless her. I loved your story. I resonate so much with what you said, especially just, going from having certain sensitivities to foods and then now having Purium as a resource to help, reset your body, where now you are learning that you can trust yourself, you can trust your body with adding in other foods back into your routine. And I definitely experienced that before I found Purium. I don't know if anybody resonates with this, but put a 2 in the chat if you have a big sweet tooth. I had to have dessert after almost every meal, but definitely every night. And I noticed that my lymphatic system was really backed up. And usually after a while, when I would start to consume a lot of processed sugar or even dairy mixed together, I would break out like almost instantly. And it really triggered my self-confidence, especially because I have a background in modeling. And it just really frustrated me. And so I did take some time. I transformed my diet and took a break from dairy, took a break from a lot of processed sugar. Thankfully, Purium, especially with Biomedic and all of our other superfoods, helped reduce the inflammation in my body. And, I went through a point in my life where I kind of was just afraid to add those things back in or even to just experiment and have it, because I just had that almost like traumatic experience where if I do this, then I'm going to break out again, or I'm going to feel uncomfortable in my body. And I mentioned I had just got back home from visiting my hometown in Louisville, Kentucky. And I went to a restaurant that I grew up going to and indulged in some ice cream that had dairy that I hadn't really had in a very long time. And my body was completely fine. I definitely prepared and made sure that I had, all of my superfoods on hand before, but even after, but I didn't have that response that I used to have. And I just love, like I mentioned, earlier, that this program, this resources really helps us begin to trust ourselves. And it all starts with our gut, and that you can have, the balance with your nutrition. One of the things that I was very consistent with also back home, especially when you're talking about like skin health, being out in the sun, has been dark berry and hair, skin, and nails, like our collagen pack. I've been really consistent with that recently. I love how the hair, skin, and nails has spirulina in it, also has kelp and dandelion leaf, which are really rich in vitamins A and C. So I would make a smoothie with like a lot of frozen blueberries, and I would have banana and acai, and it's just like ice cream. It's so good when you make a smoothie like that. And like everyone mentioned too, just having them as a resource when you're traveling. When I travel, especially when I'm flying, I don't like to eat heavy meals at all. I almost kind of like to fast. So I always keep super aminos on hand. I love that I can just keep them in my purse. And when I'm on the flight, I can get protein in without having to order food at the airport, which just smells terrible to me. And eating on the plane where you're just congested and you're next to all these other people. I don't really like to eat that way. So I like having the convenience of our superfoods. And then if I'm flying, I'll have a PowerShake or something light before the flight or even after, just to support my digestive system. But I am traveling again next month. So I'm really excited to just have more of the PowerShake on hand, all the things, but definitely PowerShake, definitely Biomedic, and Can't Beat This on hand just to stay hydrated. So yeah, that's what I'm doing this summer.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I love that, there's really a lot of the same ones that we lean on during the summer for hydration and for sharing with others that just keep it so simple. And we just have so many different superfoods that we can lean on and incorporate into our daily life, depending on what it is that we are, wanting to offer either for our own bodies or for our community. And so I want to share with you all a recipe book that we made a couple years ago, which really highlights appetizers, dressing, salad, soups, but mainly the appetizers is what I wanted to lean into because there's so many different options that could be really helpful to just bring to the table when you're going to one of these festivities. And so it's really important that we know what we have access to. We know what tools we have. And so I want you all to lean into these recipe books. We have 3 different recipe books to choose from. And we have, a couple hundred recipes at the very least that you can dive into and incorporate into your daily life or incorporate into the events that are coming up and make it fun and festive. There's so many different ways. So if you're going to bring a salad, you can always spruce it up with a vinaigrette, where you can add some apothecary or some of the bio fruit to them. These are really great just to add some really yummy flavors as well as additional nutrients to the salad dressing that you're putting on your salad. So that's something really simple. If you happen to be bringing the salad, you can also do like a tahini salad dressing. My children and I love the tahini salad dressing and make that really often. And it's really versatile. You can put it on so many different things. I've actually recently made a potato salad with a tahini salad dressing, and it was really good. And it was a really different alternative than the traditional potato salads that we usually see with mayonnaise and eggs and other ingredients in there. And so it's really great. We can play around with foods and, add in these additional nutrients to them to just make them fun and tasty and festive and different. Sometimes people can get inspired by different flavors and like, oh, what did you put in that? So I'm just going to skip through these so I can get to the appetizers. I should have skipped through it first. This is a really great one to do the hummus. We did this one year at convention, actually. We had a Million Mom Movement tabling where we got together. We actually went and created a bunch of hummuses and protein bites for the convention. And it was so fun because we got to play around with different superfoods. And one of the favorites that we made, which is a great hit, was hummus. Hummus is actually very easy to make. You can get garbanzo beans either canned or you can cook them yourself at home in a crock pot or in a pressure cooker. Works really great as well. You add in the ingredients for your hummus and make a hummus base. Hummus base is it's pretty simple with just a few ingredients added into the garbanzo beans into a blender or a food processor. And then from there, you can make some different varieties of hummus. So when we played around with it, we made one with Can't Beat This. So we separated it into 3 different parts. We left one plain, and then to one portion, we added Can't Beat This, which gave it a beautiful pink color, made it a little bit sweet. So it was like sweet and tangy. And then to the other one, we added barley green juice, and it made it a green color, and it made it actually, the bitters in it really did complement the hummus, and it was really tasty, and it was a great thing to bring to parties to, with your bag of chips or crackers or vegetables. You can bring a vegetable platter with this, and it's something that is socially acceptable. It won't be totally, different from everything that people expect, but it's a healthier alternative. And of course, when it's homemade, you can control the ingredients and the quality of ingredients. We have some great recipes for things like summer rolls, and we have a great peanut sauce here to go with them. Peanut sauce is also very versatile. My kids love peanut sauce with all kinds of different things. So you can find different fun recipes to include a peanut sauce with. And then so many other things as well. Making your own salsas can be really fun. You can control the quality of the tomatoes that you're getting and all the other ingredients that are in here, because we know that tomatoes are one of the conventional foods that are on the Dirty Dozen that have been adulterated and, created in other ways, right? And so it's great to choose organic whenever possible and to control our ingredients. We have things like pesto, nut-free pesto if you can't do nuts, more dressings, more options for tahini dressings, more pesto options. So there's a lot in here that you can play around with. A pesto pasta or something of the like is a great thing to bring to a potluck or a party. That's often what my kids opt for. We often will bring a pesto pasta with a homemade pesto, and you can add so much to a pesto. Also, ranch is a really popular dressing either for a dip for vegetables or a salad dressing. And we know that ranch has different ingredients that we might not want to be putting in our bodies. Oftentimes, most ranches have MSG in them, which is something it disrupts. It disrupts your body's digestion and overall, experience. Enhancing flavors is never a really good thing because, our body doesn't really know how to assimilate that. And so having natural flavors is really where it's at. And what we're encouraging is using lots of natural ingredients and spices to make things taste good. And then things like vegan cheese, if you want to do a nacho or, a mac and cheese kind of a thing, Alfredo sauce. So there's so many options. And a lot of these are incorporating different superfoods. Again, a spinach artichoke dip that you could bring. So I wanted to share this recipe book with you in case you had forgotten that it existed. You can find this recipe book in the link in our bio on Instagram. So if ever you're looking for any of the links to any of the things that are most important to the Million Mom movement, go to the Instagram link in bio because all the most important links are there. Again, if you're looking, another great one is chickpea tuna. It's a vegan tuna salad. I've made this before. It tastes delicious. If you don't know it doesn't have tuna in it, you might not even notice. You can make it into sandwiches. I love that they made it into like a cucumber boat. My kids are really into making cucumber boat sandwiches at this moment. It's, again, really cooling. Cucumbers are way better than bread. Easily to digest. You're not overworking your digestive system. It's not going to make you tired in the afternoon. It's actually going to energize your body. And so fueling your body with energizing foods or bringing these energizing foods to the party is really where it's at, because we can inspire more people if they get to taste or experience the superfoods on their own. And especially if you can show everyone how versatile they are, right? Like how you can use these superfoods in different ingredients, how you can make different crackers, flatbreads, sauces, dips, things other than shakes. Or, just really showing people that you can also eat these superfoods and mix them into different ingredients. Making summer rolls along with a peanut sauce is a great one. These don't necessarily have superfoods in them, but they are superfoods in and of themselves because they're just a bunch of different vegetables that you are combining. And all of these flavors are so delicious. Oftentimes in my summer rolls, I'll either put basil or mint leaves, which either one of them are very cooling and really just give that really yummy, pungent bite of flavor. And so even if they don't necessarily have superfoods in every one of these ingredients, we really encourage the different flavor palettes of just using more natural ingredients to flavor our foods, enhance our food flavors, and the overall health of what we're offering. Of course, if you're making a veggie platter, fruit platter, you can also have fun with making it. This one is an owl food veggie platter. You can make it in different shapes, with different festivities coming up. You can kind of choose where you want to go with it. But there's just so many different options in here. And so I'll go ahead and share the link in the comments. This recipe book has 60 pages in it. So there are, over 50 recipes that you can choose from to share with your community and to really inspire everyone of what's possible. I'm going to drop it here in the chat. And also, if you need to find it in the future or you would like to share it, you can always find it in the link in the bio on Instagram as well. And I'm going to pass it over to you, Dominique, in case you have anything else you would like to add to that while I go grab this link.
Yeah, no, I think Blessa also put it in the chat too, if people scroll up, but the link to the recipes. But yeah, I like she mentioned, I love how simple they are. I'm the type of person where if a recipe has 1,000 ingredients, like I get overwhelmed and I don't want to make it. So finding that these are simple and that, you know, you can add them in the superfoods into to make it fun. And yeah, like you said, you can really inspire people to experience the superfoods instead of kind of just talking about them or showing them you know, online. It's like, here it is, try it, have your own experience. And then also we just want to let you, all of you know too, that if you have a recipe where you created of your own, where you introduce the superfoods in, please let us know. You can let us know in our Facebook group or also on Instagram. I know you can DM us, and we love to even incorporate them into the recipe book and just expand, you know, what you can do, what you can create here with Purium. I know think it was earlier this week in our email list, Purium put out, I think it was, I'm going to pull it up now. I think it was a carrot. Yeah, it was our smoothie of the week was a carrot cake smoothie. And I was like, oh my God, that sounds amazing. It's like our carrot juice, aloe digest, almond milk with frozen banana. And you can add cinnamon and nutmeg and a tablespoon of flax or chia seeds with ice. So that's a cool, you know, like, yeah, Christian said it sounds amazing. I said the same thing when I saw the email. I was like, oh my God, I want to make that. So even when it comes to desserts and things like that, you can incorporate the superfoods in and help people experience a healthy alternative to you know, a sweet treat. So yeah.
Absolutely. I love that. And Blessa, did you want to add anything else before we start to close out?
Um, I don't know. I've loved this whole talk. It's gotten me so excited to make more recipes. Like they're so simple, these things. So I do them for superfood socials, but then I find like I'm making the popcorn and I'm making the balls, and then I'm like, oh, well, I might as well make some hummus. And it just all starts like coming together because it's just usually things, like I said, that you have on hand. So that's been really nice to be able to have. I like not having to wonder, what am I going to eat? What can I eat? Like I got so tired of that, of everywhere going, you know, everywhere I would go be like, well, what's here for me? Most places there isn't food that's for me. So to be able to like to just make things that I can eat that aren't going to make me feel sick is so cool. So thank you both. I'm excited to try more things and see other people's recipes as well.
Absolutely. I love that, Blessa, because it's so true. Oftentimes, you know, we go somewhere and maybe we can't eat a lot of the foods that are available. And so it's so great when we can bring the things that we feel confident in consuming and really inspire other people of what's available and what they can, you know, maybe bring to the party next time, or that there's more of the foods that maybe they like to eat because maybe like us, they also like to read ingredient labels and choose higher quality foods. And so, you know, bringing something that you feel confident for yourself and your family to consume, and you're also inspiring your community. So that's always a great perk to bringing these delicious foods to any party this summer. And I wanted to pull up this page so you can pull up a QR code of your choice. Go ahead and scan your camera over one of these QR codes. At the end of each one of these recipe books is another page like this with all of the QR codes again. And so rest assured, you can screenshot this whole page, or you can just scan whichever one of your choice and go scan through it. Have fun. We have a recipe book for drinks, smoothies, and snacks. We have a recipe books for dressings, appetizers, soups, and salads that we just looked at. And then we have one for entrees and desserts as well. So depending on what you want to bring to the party, you can lean on that recipe book and get some ideas, right? Just get inspired by what's available. There's a couple hundred recipes just within these recipe books, and there's even more that Purium provides for us in our weekly emails as well. So you have lots of recipes to choose from, whether you're choosing to bring the drinks and the hydration, or whether you're choosing to bring the appetizers or the meals. There is so many different recipes that are just leaning towards the healthier options that we have available. And like I said, not every single recipe has superfoods in it. They just are healthier alternatives that we want to encourage people to make these choices for ourselves, for our families, and be able to have great ideas, right, of our comfort foods that we love or that our children love, and being able to make them homemade from scratch and with better ingredients. And the one at the very top is Sad to Rad. It's a flip book that focuses on the standard American diet versus our radiantly activated devotion. We decided it was of incorporating more superfoods into our life. And so it really goes through good, better, best. And so if you know anybody that you're wanting to inspire with this lifestyle, that one's a great one to share with them, especially moms or people that are having to make these hard choices every day as we go through the grocery stores and our kids are screaming at us that they want this or that thing, that we can know how to choose the better option. Um, and so the Sad to Route is a really great tool for that. It really does give us, the good, better, best. And so, not there are options that are not the best, and we just kind of highlight why, that they have high fructose corn syrup or the different ingredients that we don't agree with, and then why the other ones are better or best. And so it's a great one to lean on as a tool. All of these can get found again in our Instagram page. So, rest assured that you can find all of those links elsewhere and have access to them at any time at your fingertips. So please lean on those because we put a lot of work into making them. And I really do hope that you all put them to good use so that that way, we can really get those out to more people. And then last but not least, each and every one of you here is a part of the Million Mom movement. If this was the first time that you attended our Million Mom Movement Thursday Zoom, we want to invite you to join our community, to become a part of this incredible community, and to really lean on what it is that we have to offer here. And so as a part of that, we'd like to invite you to like, follow, and share our different pages. Let me try to remove myself from the middle of the screen. Um, and we really would love for you to join us for our future presentations, invite your community, and participate in what it is that we're doing here because we have so much knowledge to share. And we just want to expand this community so that way we can have access, we can help more people have access to these incredible superfoods. So please go ahead and like our Facebook page and join our Million Mom Movement official group on Facebook. The Facebook page is where we post our events for our weekly Zooms. And so you can learn about whatever the next topics are as the weeks go by. And so the next month's schedule will be up in the next 24 hours. You'll be able to find those there under events. And then our group on Facebook is our community group. We would love for you to join that group, participate in that group, share your stories or experiences, tips and tricks, recipes, all of the things within that group to really inspire our community. And then if you would like to follow us on Instagram, if you use that platform, you can go ahead and give us a follow. You can use the hashtags below or tag us at Million Mom Movement. And I will do my best to repost you in our stories or feature you on our pages. So we would love to just have you as part of our community and share what it is that you're doing and how you're sharing on social media and really expand your audience that way by sharing it with the rest of our community. And then last but not least, subscribe to our YouTube channels. I know so many people reach out to me weekly, ask me where the replays are. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's where we have over 300 replays. And so there's tons of information there. You can go scroll through the replays, share them with your community. A really great way to find the Million Mom Movement replays that you might be looking for is to just use good old Google and Google Million Mom Movement and the keyword of what you're looking for, whether it's autism, postpartum, summer, summertime fun, whatever it is, use Million Mom Movement and a keyword of your choice, and different titles will pop up based on that selection. And that's really probably the easiest way to navigate finding the replays that you want on there. We have also highlighted many different topics of health. So you can also Google things like Million Mom Movement and diabetes or Crohn's or, body positivity, weight loss, athletes, different things like that. And you'll also find different Zooms with those presentations. So use your imagination, go search up the titles that you're looking for, share them with your community, and get inspired for what's available here. And then next week, we have a presentation. All about postpartum and really supporting postpartum moms to create abundance and financial freedom. That is really where my story steps in. So I'll be sharing my story next week on that topic. And if you know anybody that is pregnant or in their postpartum journey, then please invite them to next week's Thursday's presentation. We would love to have them there. And you can see that throughout the months, on the first week of the month, we have rotating topics. Second week of the month, Dominique does an amazing job at sharing about how we can create financial freedom. On the third Thursday of the month, we always highlight autism and nutrition, and Anna Marie Sandoval does an amazing job at sharing knowledge on that call. And the fourth Friday of the month, we always share about family health and nutrition. And so these are our topics ongoing right now, and we look forward to seeing you all next week. And so I just thank you all for being here present today. Again, each and every one of you make this movement move forward. And so I just appreciate you taking the time to be here today. Thank you all so much, and we will see you all next week.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.